going to shock the world here.
I'm calling for an open tryout. If anyone is watching this, I'm calling for an open tryout. I got a year of eligibility left.
Anthony, where is home for you?
Home is Medway.
That's wrong.
All right, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to have to disagree.
While we were in class this morning, I was watching his mixtape, and this guy catches and shoots from anywhere.
Are you ready for some debate? Because Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Cat Splin. Alongside me tonight are my two analysts, Sports Pause executive producers, Nick Boyd and Anthony Rossi. How are we feeling tonight, gentlemen?
Well, I'm feeling great. You know, in the intro, that was the last time I went on. I got absolutely embarrassed. Not looking for that tonight. I'm looking to have fun. And, I mean, It's going to be a super fun time. We had a really solid Twitter banter earlier.
We were talking a lot of trash earlier. I'm ready to leave it out on the field, so to speak.
Yep, these two were talking trash while I was just vibing in the corner. But anyways, let's get to our first subject of the night. On Saturday, men's ice hockey opened their season against the Penn State Nittany. Oh yeah, we're taking the QBSN element first. I apologize there. There.
Opening night in hockey. To some, it simply means the start of a new season, while for others, it signifies the overwhelming optimism that comes with an unwritten chapter's blank page that's been waiting patiently since the spring, just daring you to write in it. The pen's about to meet the paper because for the first time in 195 days, it's once again Quinnipiac Bobcats game night. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight for the Quinnipiac men's hockey home opener on QBSN. From inside the M&T Bank Arena, joined alongside Eli Ehlers, I am Eric Zank, getting you set for the first ever matchup between the Bobcats and the Penn State Nittany Lions.
It's 1-0 Bobcats. Yeah, Aaron Schwartz with the shot. I think Jeremy Wilmer got a piece of it as he's the first guy to go through the handshake line. They score! It was tipped in front by Sermon. And the Bobcats double the lead. It's 2-0. Go through and they score! It was Wilmer in front. He got a piece of it, redirected it, and the Bobcats lead by 3. Quinnipiac will take the first ever meeting between the Bobcats and the Penn State Nittany Lions by a slim margin. 3-2 is your final from M&T Bank Arena. And the Bobcats take their home opener.
All right, slight error back there on my end, but now for real, it is time to get into the debate of the night. The top line for the men's ice hockey team on Saturday's season opener was Aaron Schwartz, Mason Marcellus, and Jeremy Wilmer. They dominated scoring on 2 of the team's 3 goals. Will that line live up to Colin Graff, Jacob Quillian, and Sam Lipkin's performance over the last 2 seasons? Anthony, let's hear what you had to say.
This is an interesting question. I like two of the questions are really spicy. This one's starting off hot. I'm going to say no. I do not believe that this line is that insane. I feel like there's a better line on the team that you could shift around a couple of players. But let's talk about let's talk about this for a second. You have 3 NHL caliber players you're comparing a top line to on a college hockey team from this year. Colin Graff has scored in back-to-back goals in the AHL. Jacob Quillen scored his first goal the other night. And then Sam Lipkin is basically chasing history. He got his first point last year. These are players that have gotten professional experience after in the college level and put up those numbers in college. 130 points combined last year alone. That's not even talking about the national championship year. I don't know how you can combine or compare these 2 lines together. And the line that I think that could be even close, and that's is Marcellus, Treelar, and Serbone. Reunite the second line from last year that was under Lipkin, Graff, and Quillen. That line was even better.
I will remind you that only one of Graff, Lipkin, Quillen were an NHL draft pick entering college. So I will remind you that. But
I do know. I know that.
Let's go a little bit more of a history lesson, right?
Okay.
2022, what happens? Men's ice hockey loses to Michigan in the NCAA tournament. Next year they add a transfer. That's Colin Graff. A first year, Sam Lipkin, and the elevator returner and Jacob Quillen to the first line. Win the national championship. Those guys are now legends for life here at Quinnipiac.
Well, Jacob Quillen was on the 4th line.
Either way, that's
Jacob
even more
Quillen
impressive
was on
an
the 4th
elevation,
line that
right?
lost to Michigan.
Either way,
he had 2
goals
that
that year, 19 the next year, 19 the next year, right? Kid was insane that year. 2024, right? Lose to Boston College in the NCAA tournament. What does Rand do? Rinse, repeat. Go get a transfer in Wilmer. Go get a first year in Schwartz and bring Marcellus up to the first line. I think, obviously, it's early. One game in, it's too early to say that they're obviously going to. But I think that, give them time. They got a lot of time here left to build their legacy. I think they can. I think Marcellus can take that role that Quillen had on the first line, really build that up, take that next step forward. Same with Schwartz, Schwartz was a beast in the BCHL with the Surrey Eagles last year. How many points do you think Sam Lipkin had when he was in juniors with the USCHL?
Well, to be honest, it doesn't matter how many points he had in juniors, because if you look at the production
I'm going to tell you, Schwartz had...
I'm not done. Look at the production that he had in the NCAA. That's enough argument already. Juniors don't matter. You look at what happened. You look at what happened in the NCAA. The professional aspect and the college aspect is way more important than juniors.
I think looking in juniors is a good way to see a player's potential. Schwartz had almost double the amount of points that.
I guess we can just agree to disagree on this.
All right, gents. Good for subject. Jedward, save your energy though, because we still got several more subjects to get through. Moving on to our next subject of the night, Quinnipiac has 3 non-conference weekends until the start of ECAC play. Which weekend will be the biggest for the men's hockey team? Nick, how about you start us off this time?
Yeah, I'm going to go with their upcoming weekend series in Orono, Maine. All right, top 10 matchup on the road. They've got 2 games that are a real chance for them to go out and prove themselves. And I think if they can go out there and beat Maine, who's a very good hockey team, on the road twice in a row, I don't think they actually go sweep them. I think they're probably going to get a series split. Either way, you win 1 or 2 of those games, that can prove that this team is legitimate heading into the rest of the season.
I mean, I 100% agree with you. Like, I have Maine on this. They're going to be the hardest weekend. The one thing, I will play a little bit of devil's advocate, is you look at UNH up there. They're not a bad team, but they are itching for competition. Look at their season start. Exhibition versus Stonehill. Terrible. Bentley's okay, but they took them 1-0 in overtime, which doesn't really show anything. Merrimack is currently playing with their equipment manager as the goaltender.
I did see that
because
story.
they have 3 goalies that are academically ineligible or are injured. So Merrimack's not going to be that good. And who's going to even say the Holy Cross weekend that they have 1 game versus Holy Cross? But UNH is hungry. C. Leclerc was the best player in the series last year against Quinnipiac. Wasn't even close. He had 3 points, 2 goals, and a comeback effort in the second game. I think UNH is going to be really good, but I do think that Maine is going to be the hardest test that Quinnipiac will.
I like that UNH take though, because it also gives the Bobcats an opportunity to take care of business on their home ice. Penn State kind of scared them in the third period there. They really need a good series at home to show that they can beat that team.
Another thing too about UNH, they played up in UNH last year, and they bested them in the second game. UNH is notoriously known for having a detrimental atmosphere to visitor opponents. They literally throw fish on the ice. That is how crazy this environment is. UNH is a very tough place to play, so I can see why they dropped that first game. Second game, it really showed the talent of the team and the strive forward, but I think that both of the weekends upcoming are really going to prove who's going to be the starter of this team, whether it be Marinov or Dylan Silverstein.
All right, gentlemen. Good points from both of you. Now then, let's move on to our next subject, switching over to women's ice hockey team. They have only allowed 4 goals through 5 games. How sustainable is it for the team to continue this goaltending and defensive dominance? Anthony, as the women's ice hockey beat reporter, I say it's only fitting that you start off this debate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know what happened tonight?
I did see that, yeah.
What
they
happened
collapsed
tonight? You want to
tonight.
tell the audience?
They collapsed tonight. It was a bad game, but I don't think
It was a tough third
I don't
period
think
game
one bad
against
game
an unranked Providence team
that they
Don't get me
just
wrong.
beat in
Don't
the
get me wrong.
shutout.
Don't get me wrong. I think that the team is really solid. I don't think that it's going to continue in ECAC play because genuinely,
Well, because they're better than the rest of the conference.
Exactly. That's exactly my argument. They have better in-conference teams. Clarkson's ranked higher than them. St. Lawrence is ranked higher than them. Cornell, Colgate. Shall I name any more teams that are ranked higher than them? No, because there's only 4. But they're all insanely good, and they can come into Hamden too and make madness happen.
I will say, I don't think one blip on the radar is going to. I still think this defense can be very sustainably successful, right? Kaylee Doyle's got, 3 shutouts on the year. Felicia Frank, a first year in her first ever game, went out and got one. The goaltending room is great. Cass Turner knows what she's doing there. I would argue that the defensemen have been even more impactful to that.
No, I agree with you
look
on
at
that.
Yeah, the shot blocking. They've played they've played very physical, but disciplined physical. They don't rack up a ton of penalty minutes.
The one problem that I have, and I like the defensive point there, can they really hold up to these offensive powerhouses like Colgate, who has Kaltnikova? They lost Daniel Serdachny, so they lose a little bit, but they have Kaltnikova. You look at Clarkson, they have Madison Chandler, who just transferred over from Quinnipiac. Then you look at Cornell, too.
I do think
ECAC Player of the Year. I don't think that they're going to handle in-conference play well.
I disagree. I think that they'll be able to because Cass Turner knows these teams and these programs a lot better than the non-conference teams because she's facing them every single year.
Well, she knows Providence every single year.
Yeah, obviously, yes, I know that. But like,
they play Maine every single
when they get beat, it's because opponents are able to put a lot of shots on goal and because they're able to get opportunities on the power play. When the defense is able to prevent them from scoring, from getting shots on goal, tonight was the first game they had 30 shots. That's the reason they lost.
I don't mean to cut you guys short, but things are getting pretty tense over here between the two Sports Paws EPs. Well, it was only fitting, but let's take a quick commercial break before we proceed. When we return, the guys will play a new game. Stay with us.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our everyday.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. We are now going to play a new game called Secret Stat Lines. Both analysts will try and guess which player has the stats displayed on screen. After they make their guess, I will reveal the answer. You guys ready to get started?
Yeah, this should be fun.
I'm hyped.
All right, let's start with our first player, a midfielder who has 2 goals, 1 assist, 5 points, 7 shots on goal, and 2 games winning goals in 631 minutes played this season. Nick, we'll start with your guess.
Ooh, I'm gonna guess Clara Bengtsson. I think she was the one who scored. She's the first-year midfielder from Sweden, I believe. I think she scored in the 2-1 nothing games this year. I'm gonna go with her.
Not bad guess.
I agree with you. I think it's Clara Bengtsson.
All right, well,
Definitely a switch off of them agreeing, but let's reveal the answer. The stats belong to first-year Clara Bengtsson.
Oh, let's go.
And good job, guys.
That was just women's soccer too. Well,
I
think that she's really performed very well, and I know last time I was on Breakdown, like we did a little bit of argument, being like, who's going to be the big first year?
She's been very good.
It's nice to see you guys playing nice to each other, but we're going to be moving on to player number 2. She is a defender who is second on the team with 3 goals, 3 assists, 9 points, 5 shots on goal, and 2 game-winning goals in 1,002 minutes played. Anthony, who do you think has those stats?
Well, this is a player that I looked at before because I was like, who has the most minutes on the team? And it's Madison Alves.
Yeah, she made the switch from midfielder to defense last year, or over the offseason, and she's the most physical player on the team, so Dave Clark can put her out there for as long as he can.
All right.
Put it up.
All right, it is time to reveal the answer. The player who has these stats is Junior Madison Alves. All right.
Yeah, she is one of the best defensive players on that team because of how physical she is.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been great this year, and I expect her to be great in going into her senior season.
But we are going to go to number 3, boys. The third mystery player is another midfielder with 2 goals, 1 assist, and 5 points to go along with 8 shots on goal and 1 game-winning goal in 496 minutes played. Nick, who was player number 3?
Ooh, I'm going to go with, I think, Aisling Spillane, the transfer in from Ireland. I'm going to go with her.
I think you're right. I was debating between Andrews and another player, Morgan Kupo, but I realized Kupo's a forward.
Yeah.
So it would be Spillane.
All right, these guys are a little shaky, but let's see who it is. Number 3 is senior Aisling Spillane. Are you guys surprised by how similar her numbers are to being Sten?
Not particularly either.
No, she's also new to the program this year, and Clark likes to kind of spread his offense out, so I'm not too surprised with that.
Well, it is time for our final player of the night. Let's see if these two can go 4 for 4. She is a defender with 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 points, and 4 shots on goal over 694 minutes played. Anthony, which member of the Bobcats backline do you think this is?
This one is a little tough, but I think it's Caroline Matzik, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. It's not Foster, and it can't be Mandler. I'm going to guess Tally Lyon, but I'm not sure on this one.
Ooh, first conflicting opinions of the game, but time to reveal the answer. The stats belong to senior Tally Leon.
Yeah, she's jumped into the starting 11 this year. Good option off the bench last year. I'm surprised she hasn't played as many minutes, though. I thought she was going to be at least in the 800s.
All right, well, boys, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you guys off. I know you guys could banter all day, but we still got plenty of show left for that. But that is all the time we have left for Secret Stat Lines. However, we will be right back after a short commercial break to discuss Sofia Lespinoso's success so far this season, as well as whether the volleyball team is truly the real deal.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
You know, he's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you're just joining us, I'm Bobcat Flynn, alongside Anthony Rossi and Nick Boyd. Let's continue the debate for the evening. The women's soccer team continues to dominate in conference play and have yet to give up a goal through their 7 games. Will Sofia Lospinoso let up a goal in the MAC regular season this year? If yes, name the game that it will happen. Take it away, Nick Boyd.
So I did hammer the over with Zach Naffa on Bobcat Game Day. However, if I'm looking at the odds, she's human. Yes, it's probably going to happen. And I think it'll happen in that last Fairfield game because of how good the Fairfield Stags are. Maddie Theriault is the one forward in the MAC who I think would be able to put enough shots on goal to potentially take down, to potentially beat Los Spinoso. They put the most shots on goal in the MAC. And Quinnipiac's defense is so good because they allow so few shots on goal. Obviously, Los Spinoso is amazing in her own right. But the defense limits the amount of saves she has to make. So I think because Theriault's probably going to put a lot of shots on her, I think that'll be the game winner.
All right, Rossi?
You ready?
I'm so ready.
She's doing it.
You think
and
she's doing
I
it?
think it's possible. The Maddie Theriault thing is the one thing in my notes that I have that she is possibly the player to beat Lo Espinoso. I don't think so. I think she's come this far. There's 5 games left. There's a chance that we might see history. The defense is better this year, too, so she's not really making a lot of saves. I know, when we look at the stats, when we're getting ready for Sports Pause, we're like, oh, Sofia Lo Espinoso, no saves, no goals against. Why is that? Her defense is so good. Victoria Foster is great. Andrews is solid. Lyon is a force this year. She's had more experience now. She's got more skill than last year. The offense is performing well. I mean, all of the keys are there, and I think that Lo Espinoso might just do it.
I would like to see it. I'm going to try to be a realist, though. I just don't see it happening.
All right.
All right. Well, both you gentlemen put up some valid arguments, but we're going to be switching on from the pitch to the hardwood. The volleyball team has had an up and down start to conference play. They are currently 5-2 in MAC play. Is the team contenders or pretenders? Anthony, how about you start us off this time?
It's fitting. I've started the women's ice hockey question because I'm a beat reporter. Volleyball question, I'm a beat reporter
too. That is how they design it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they're contenders to an extent. I feel like it's tough to tell right now.
By that, do you mean you think they make the playoffs?
I think that they make the playoffs.
Okay,
for
I would
sure.
agree with that.
I don't think that I really think their ceiling is the MAC championship, and I think that they can get there. I really do. It's just the only problem that I see is Fairfield, because Fairfield is Fairfield.
I would say any team in the top 3 that they're below right now, because they've really struggled to close out teams under 500 at home this year.
I disagree, because they beat Ryder earlier in the year.
They did beat Ryder in the year.
They beat them
that
very
is true.
handily.
But they've also struggled, and even though those games were sweeps, they were struggling to close out sets against Merrimack, Shoe, Manhattan, Iona. That concerns me a little bit. They've already made more service errors this year than the entirety of last season, and without Joe Vagnoni, I don't know if they can do it.
It's tough. It is really, really tough. I think Giacomini, if healthy, because she's been a little bit iffy under the weather, she's had a little bit of struggles as well, but she's definitely one of the best players in the MAC.
I
think that she could either get first team or second team by the end of the year. Damla Ganesh,
the Ganesh
has her
been
struggle.
fantastic.
The Ganesh twins, they have their struggles in the start, but once they reach the end of the match, I have no problem with them going farther in.
Yeah.
I just think that the only trouble is Fairfield. Ryder's only loss this year is to Quinnipiac, and I see that continuing throughout the rest of the year.
The glaring thing I'm seeing, though, is that loss to St. Peter's at home. That team was projected to be the worst in the conference. You cannot drop a game at home to the projected worst team in the conference.
While this is true, St. Peter's is known as the upset.
Okay, but they're
Queens or
11th in the
Kings.
conference.
I
They're 11th.
understand
You can't lose to the 11th seed
They
in
have
the conference.
been like.
All right, boys. I am sorry. I know we've had a lot of fun here, clashing heads, but it is time to end the debates of the night, and time to take our last break of the night. But don't go anywhere just yet. The fighting may be over, but when we return, we will be getting our final roars.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
We are taught you don't talk about your problems with nobody because you could get in trouble. And I've been through a lot. Anxiety, depression, sexual assault. When I decided to get help, my life changed. In the mental health box, that was one of the big tools. Accepting help means that we are allowing somebody to bless our life. It's freeing. We got stronger together. Love your mind.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. It is time for our final roars. I will start us off. Sports and entertainment are two things that go hand in hand with each other. Major sporting events such as the Super Bowl or the Olympics not only showcase athletic prowess, but also serve as platforms for high-profile entertainment performances, drawing in viewers who may not typically follow sports. This synergy enhances the overall experience as fans engage with both the competition and the accompanying entertainment elements, such as halftime shows and celebrity appearances. Additionally, the rise of sports media and digital platforms has further blurred the lines between sports and entertainment, allowing for greater storytelling and fan interaction. Ultimately, this intersection enriches both industries, fostering a culture where sports are celebrated not just for their competitive nature, but also for their ability to entertain and unite diverse audiences. In my time at Q30, I have been heavily involved with the entertainment department as is in my realm of expertise. I have never really been the biggest sports guy, so really never branched out to the sports department. However, as mentioned before, the two really do intertwine well and have impacted each other. Tonight, I decided to step outside my comfort zone and go on air for a sports show having minimal knowledge. When people think of the entertainment industry, their minds usually go to movies, TV, video games, music, etc., but excluding sports would be a complete oversight as it still brings people together in the same way. For those looking to enter the entertainment industry, it is important to have an open mind of all forms of entertainment as you never know where you'll end up.
For this week, I've chosen to speak about a topic that I've spoken about every single year that I've been on the show, the women's ice hockey team's first-year talent. My first time on the show back in 2022, I talked about Madison Chandler, and last year I talked about Caitlin LaMarche, who both had breakout seasons in their first year in Hamden. This time around, though, it's less focusing on one specific player and rather a group of players that have made their impact known already. To start, in the first game of the season against Maine, Bryn Pryor and Michaela Watson each racked up their first career goals, while Ainsley DeTavio picked up her first career point. Fast forward to last Tuesday, Swedish netminder Felicia Frank notched her first career win and first career shutout in 1-0 win versus the Providence Friars. Looking at statistics today, Pryor and Watson both had 3 points, while DeTavio has 2 assists so far this season. Cass Turner's squad houses 8 first years on the roster, this go around, with 5 of them seeing ice consistently. But even though some may not see the ice this year, I expect this first-year class to turn out to be another top class that Turner has recruited during her tenure. I feel like even though I do this topic every year, it gets more and more fun to talk about the relationships that I have built with the program as a whole. I've done so much with my time here at Quinnipiac, but I mainly focus my attention to the coverage of the women's ice hockey team. I want to thank Coach Turner and the entire coaching staff and the players for treating me so well for the last couple of seasons. It's been a blessing, and I look forward to continue covering the team for the rest of this season.
We all remember the end of last year's men's basketball season. Quinnipiac fell in heartbreaking fashion to the St. Peter's Peacocks, ending their best shot at a MAC title in program history. But sometimes good things can come from a little heartbreak. After the loss, star guard Matt Belong talked about creating a foundation and said that he hoped the team would be able to use the experience to fuel them to a future title run. And even though Belong is now gone, the Bobcats might be even better this year. For the first time ever, Quinnipiac enters the season as the title favorites, coming first in the coaches poll. Instead of leaving to play at bigger schools, the Bobcats' core 3 of Amari Monroe, Savion Lewis, and Paul Otieno all decided to run it back. And Pecora's first big recruiting class is teaming with talent, and they look ready to contribute right away. Pecora has already built a winning basketball culture here that hasn't really been seen since the team's NEC days under Tom Moore. I'll call it right here, right now. Expect the men's basketball team to embrace the role of favorite and win their first ever MAC title.
Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have tonight on Bobcat Breakdown. Thanks for hanging with us on this Tuesday night. Make sure to follow us on social media at Q30TV and check out our website at Q30TV.com. From the producers and everyone working hard behind the scenes, what do you guys think went well before we sign off?
I think we had a really good show. It was good fun. I think we got a lot of that energy out.
I think it was a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoyed time with you. Yeah. It was a good debate. Yeah. Second time around, most fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. As someone that knows very minimal about sports, I really had a good time tonight and hope to return to this desk at some point. Anyways, he's Anthony Rossi, he's Nick Boyd, and I am Michael Catsflynn. Have a great rest of your night, Bobcats.